Ancient Egyptians took their dead apart. This wasn't a choice made for vanity, it was a survival strategy. If the process failed, they believed the soul would be trapped forever. To understand the stakes, you have to look at how they viewed life after death. They believed the human spirit split into two wandering elements, the Ka, or life force, and the Ba, which represented the personality. These spirits couldn't survive indefinitely on their own. They had a strict requirement. They eventually had to return to the original physical body to keep living. That created a massive problem. If the body was allowed to decay, the spirits would have no home to return to, and the soul would be cast into eternal oblivion. The brutal deconstruction of the body served as a biological defense mechanism, engineered to outsmart this second permanent death. The process began at the Ibu, the place of purification. This is where the visceral work of hollowing out the body took place. The first step was removing the brain. Embalmers force a metal hook through the nasal bone, scrambling the brain to drain it out. Despite the difficult extraction, the Egyptians considered the brain useless. They simply threw it away. Next, they made a deep incision on the left side of the torso. Through this opening, they extracted the lungs, the liver, the stomach, and the intestines, the organs most prone to rapid decay. These specific organs were treated and placed into canopic jars. Each vessel was empty. But one organ, the soul itself. Saved for a final test, the heart was weighed against the feather of truth in the afterlife. If heavier, the soul was destroyed forever. Embalmers stripped the body to an empty shell, leaving only a waiting heart. With the body hollowed out, the drying phase began. Embalmers used natron, a powerful natural salt, to bury the corpse completely. For 40 days, the body sat in silence as the salt pulled every drop of moisture from the tissue. The physical change was total. The skin shrank and the muscles tightened until the human form became a shriveled, unrecognizable husk. Embalmers then had to artificially rebuild the ruined body. They stuffed the empty cavity with linen, sawdust, and sand to restore its shape, before sealing the skin with resins to stop the passage of time. Mummification worked through calculated, controlled decay, destroying the body's moisture to freeze it in place. Once the body was stabilized, the ritual of wrapping began. This required hundreds of yards of linen. Every individual finger and limb was isolated and covered separately to ensure no part of the body was left vulnerable. Hidden between these layers were protective amulets. These small charms served as physical anchors for spells, meant to shield souls from dangers of the underworld. The room would have been filled with priests chanting passages from the Book of the Dead, binding the prayers directly into the linen. When the final knot was tied, the fragile remains were encased in an impenetrable, magical suit of armor, ready to face the journey through eternity. The final step was to seal the armored body inside nested, heavy coffins. These were then hidden deep within tombs and surrounded by weapons, food, and treasures, everything the deceased would need to restart their life in the next world. But this elaborate system of salvation came with a massive financial cost. For the poor, the process was rushed, incomplete, or skipped entirely. They were often buried in shallow graves with little more than a layer of salt. This created a final, insurmountable obstacle for the lower classes. Without the funds to pay for the preservation of their physical remains, their souls were effectively priced out of the afterlife. The mummies we see today are more than just archaeological finds. They are the remnants of a desperate, expensive fight to ensure a human soul never disappeared into nothingness.